As you guys know, on this channel, I love to talk about the history of Call of Duty, whether that be an individual character, a game, a weapon, a game mode. We've talked about it all on this channel. But there is one thing that we haven't talked about, and that's competitive Call of Duty, the history of it, where it started and where it's going. And now is a perfect time to do so because, one, they just added League play into Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. And on top of that, this weekend, as of right now, as you are watching this, is the start of the entire season of CDL and the whole year of competitive Call of Duty. And I've actually partnered up with the CDL to bring you guys some information on it and bring you guys some videos as well. You're going to see several of them on the channel throughout the year, but this one specifically is the evolution of competitive Call of Duty. Now, what you need to know is, as you're watching this right now, this is the first weekend of the second year of the CDL championships. Now, if you want to know where to get all of the information, all of the videos, all of the live streams, it's actually on the CDL YouTube channel, which is going to be the first link down in the description. That is where you can get all the streams, all of the information, and all of the pro games on that YouTube channel. Now, if you don't know how the CDL works or how it's working this year, there are 5 different regular season stages, and each of these stages, there's some home series and also a major event at the end of that stage. As you can see here, this is kind of the schedule of when all of these are actually taking place. And by the end of all of these, each team will receive points for each place that they finish in that weekend, which games they win, which games they lose. And by the end, before reaching the playoffs, the 12 teams that range from the United States, Canada, and even Europe will then get seeded, and the top 8 teams will move on to the playoffs. But if you want to keep up to date with all of the professional Call of Duty, click that first link down in the description, go over to that CDL channel, check out their live streams, check out their videos. And as you watch this weekend, there's actually some games going on over on their channel. But the question is, and what I want to cover in today's video, is how did competitive Call of Duty go from this,
and our winners of the 2009 Call of Duty 4 National,
to this? This is the evolution of competitive Call of Duty. Call of Duty 2 was a simpler time. Before Call of Duty blew up to what it was today, people enjoyed the game still. However, there wasn't any ranking system or anything like that, so to play competitively, you had to do something what's called a LAN party, which at the time was where you'd sit in someone's basement with 6 different computer screens going on, playing a game together, ordering 16 pizzas, and drinking 3 cases of Mountain Dew. Now, whether you were playing against each other or against some enemies, this is what at the time was considered competitive, until someone stepped to the scene called game battles. This was a way of ranking your team amongst other teams on this website. And in 2006, this was actually bought by a company named MLG, one we're going to hear about several times throughout this video. And shortly after this is when Call of Duty blew up with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. With online games becoming more and more popular and Call of Duty adding in various different ranks, create-a-class systems, and things along those lines, it was only a matter of time before Call of Duty became one of the most popular games in the world. And when something becomes popular, things also get competitive. And Call of Duty 4 is where the competitive scene really started to grow. With MLG hopping on and starting to host tournaments, teams were put together, and some of you may not know this, but even back in Call of Duty 4, someone who was competing was Nadeshot. So in the Call of Duty 4 National Championship, the team that ended up winning this tournament was by the name of Extravagant, and they won a whopping $500 for winning this tournament. The next Call of Duty game to come out would be Call of Duty World at War, which wouldn't prove to be as popular in the competitive scene, so a lot of players went back to Call of Duty 4 for another year, and some of them even hopped on something called Pro Mod, something you could only play on PC that actually changed some of the rules of Call of Duty to make it a little bit more competitive. This is something that we'd see throughout the years continue, as competitive play would often have different rules or different set of weapons you could use than your normal Call of Duty game. Just 2 years after Call of Duty 4, the growth with Call of Duty was exponential. Modern Warfare 2 was huge for the game, and thus also the pro scene grew as well. At this time, Optic Gaming was the newest team on the street, with Nadeshot on their team, run by Hex, and don't worry, we'll be hearing more about them. But as far as the MLG National Championship in 2010, the total prize pool was $23,000, with the winners taking home $12,000. So just 2 years after that $500 for the winner, we're now up to $12,000. A year later, with Black Ops 1, that number would get up to $140,000 total prize pool, with Doug Sensor Martin and the team Quantic coming in and taking the win. And that's where you get this little joyous moment here.
take one guy out. Let's go! Yes! I love you! I love you! I love you, Virus!
However, during the same year, Activision decides to put on a big event to reveal the next Call of Duty game, Modern Warfare 3. And at this event, they announced that they were doing a professional Call of Duty tournament in which the winner would receive $400,000 and the total prize pool is $1 million. Now, the weird thing about this tournament is I believe that Call of Duty XP will forever change the landscape of competitive Call of Duty. Number one, that $1 million prize pool was huge. And two, all of a sudden people realized that you could go from flipping burgers at McDonald's to making six figures in one day simply by being good at Call of Duty. And Nadeshot made us aware of that.
And there you have it, Optic Gaming is your Call of Duty XP 2011 champions. They're taking home $400,000.
You just made 100 grand. How does that feel?
I don't want to work at McDonald's anymore.
Now, the weird part about this is Modern Warfare 3 didn't have a real big competitive scene because there was no LAN support built into the game. So after this $1 million tournament, the competitive scene just kind of went to shambles for the rest of that year. But that's when the big guns got brought out, moving into Black Ops 2. Now, Black Ops 2 was big for many reasons for the competitive scene. First of all, people loved the game, but on top of that, it introduced the new game mode of Hardpoint that has been pretty much a staple ever since, except for a couple of times that it got changed that, don't worry, we'll go over in this video. But on top of this, it was the first time score streaks were involved in the competitive mode, and this changed up the way that people were playing the game. But on top of this, Black Ops 2 also implemented a new ranked play system within the multiplayer, which meant that anyone playing the Call of Duty game could compete for a higher rank and compare themselves to anyone else in the community. And to this day, people say that this is the best ranked mode that has ever been in public matches in Call of Duty. Black Ops 2 was the first year that Call of Duty would have a $1 million prize pool, which would be won by Team Impact. Over the next couple of years, we'd kind of see more of the same. With the $1 million prize pool, we had Call of Duty Ghost. This year, Complexity would be the team winning the tournament. However, one difference is that they didn't have Hardpoint in this game, so they brought back Domination to replace it. Another weird thing about Call of Duty Ghost is that this is the year that Call of Duty was in the X Games, and instead of competing for money, teams were competing for an X Games gold medal. The team to win this was Optic Gaming, and they received their gold medal. Next game that we had was Advanced Warfare, which would completely change things up with the movement. There were two guns that reigned supreme, the BAL-27 in the ASM-1, an SMG, and an assault rifle. And on top of this, the advanced movement of this game would change the way that competitive was played, actually for the next couple of Call of Duties. Speaking of which, after this is when everything changed. Cue in Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 was the first year that something new would happen, something called the CWL, or the Call of Duty World League. Now, this was different because in the year-end tournament, there would be many more teams than just your normal 12 or so teams that would be competing. Upwards of 30 teams would enter this tournament, all of which were getting prizes, and the prize pool jumped from $1 million to $2 million, which was won by Team Envious. Infinite Warfare was a special year for me because it was actually the first live Call of Duty event that I personally got to go to, which I have to say was an incredible experience. To go somewhere where everyone around you is just as passionate about this game as you are is astounding. I have to say that. But the winner of this tournament was Optic Gaming, and this was in fact the last year ever that Uplink was a part of the main rotation of game modes. Now, the next couple of games would keep the same method with the CWL. World War II would move into the past, and instead of having this fast-paced advanced movement, the gameplay would totally change up. Smoke grenades would come incredibly prevalent, and having to adjust the play to that really changed up the play styles of many teams, and some of the best players at this time really jumped around because it was like playing a completely different game altogether. The team to end up winning by the end of the year, though, was Evil Geniuses. After this, we move into Black Ops 4, a game where specialist abilities were incredibly important. And by the end of this year, United would take away the series, and this would be the last year that the CWL would be a thing. Q 2020. This is the year that everything would change for competitive Call of Duty. Something came up called the CDL, the Call of Duty League, and this would completely change the way that we look at competitive Call of Duty. Teams were no longer just a random name, but they linked these teams with various cities. You had teams centered in New York, LA, Minnesota, Toronto, or even in London, all around the world, which was really, really cool. And each team was set to have a home series in their own stadium to bring their fans out to and give them the home field advantage. Another cool thing about this year is the prize was no longer 1 or 2 million. They bumped the prize pool up to 4.6 million, and not all teams would actually make it to the playoffs. Only the top 8 would. The system operated like your more traditional sports style system. You have your season, you have your playoffs, you have to get the appropriate number of points to make it to those playoffs. And everything was going swimmingly. The home series were kicked off, things were going well, and then, well, 2020 happened. And of course, what I mean by this is COVID-19 and everything being locked down and no one knowing when things would go back to normal. With the world being shut down, we didn't know what would happen with competitive Call of Duty. When you looked at it, there were professional sports like hockey and basketball totally shut down because of this. But there's a thing that Call of Duty has that those other sports don't, and it's called the internet. Where the world started to feel further and further apart, online communities seemed to grow closer together, and that was especially prevalent with the CDL. Even though live crowds couldn't gather, millions watched online to see who the best Call of Duty team was going to be. And by the end of the season, Dallas Empire reigned supreme, with Crim6 and Clayster both ending the season with their 3rd ever ring. Moving on to 2021. This year, CDL pops off with their 2nd season, and once again, we see the traditional 4v4 competitive scene return. This completely changed up the rosters from last year, so some of your favorite players might be on a completely different team this year. And it's important to mention that the prize pool this year is $5 million. Remember when we were talking about Call of Duty 4, the original tournament being a $500 prize? Well, yeah, this year it is 10,000 times that amount. If you want to check out all the action, it's all on the CDL YouTube channel. First link down in the description. They're going to have tons of content throughout the rest of the year, so be sure to check that out. But as always, let me know what you thought of the video. This has been the evolution of competitive Call of Duty. If you enjoyed, it's always appreciated if you hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. But as always, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, peace out.